Well, hello everybody. I gotta stop the music. There we go. It's been a little while. I'm a little blurry here. Hopefully that clears up. Welcome to our Tactical Tuesday tonight, guys. Say hi as you come on. Let us know where you're from. So we have Danielle from Ottawa, Jules from Spruce Grove, and I'm assuming that is Kelly or Amber from Panorama, and of course many others of you that are joining. Tonight we're going to talk about something that is really important when it comes to real estate investment, and that is the stuff that holds us back, the fears that might hold us back, and the way that we think sometimes, our mind blocks, all of those sorts of things that stop us from moving forward when it comes to real estate investment. How many people do you talk to that say, oh, I wish I would have X number of years ago done this or done that, and I didn't? Why didn't they? Well, because something held them back from doing so. And so, for the many years that we have been coaching real estate investors, we've been helping real estate investors, we've noticed that there are really very similar things that hold most of us back. There were certain fears that held me and Tiffany back at the very beginning. When we started to learn about real estate investment, it took us a year and a half before we bought our first property. Why? Because there were certain fears that we had. And so we can go on and on and on about things that hold us back. Today, what we're going to do is talk briefly about that, but also show you practical, real life advice as to how we can crush those fears, how we can get over them, how we can conquer them, essentially. And that's really what we want to do, right? Move forward and do something when it comes to real estate investment, or it comes to our business, whatever that might be. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So we have Rihanna from Red Deer, welcome, and Chris from Whitby. We have people from Vancouver and Beaumont and St. Albert and Cape Breton. So all across Canada, welcome to our Tactical Tuesday. I am out in the Bragg Creek area, just west of Calgary, doing some dirt biking out here. So I'm in our motorhome right now. And for some reason, my screen is a little blurry, and I'm hoping that fixes itself. But we will move on with it. You see, one of the fears we might have is not everything working perfectly for a Tactical Tuesday, and that's how it happens sometimes. But we move forward, and we crush those fears. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today, guys. Yes, it is a beautiful area out here. Absolutely. Okay, so let's start, guys, by I'm going to ask you a question. Maybe you haven't bought anything yet. Maybe you have. Maybe you've been a real estate investor for a number of years. So think back to when you first got started, right now for some of you. Maybe it's many years ago for some others of you. But think back, what were some of the fears that you have had? Just put it in the chat. What has held you back from moving forward? Maybe held you back from buying that next property, or held you back from maybe buying your first property? What has held you back from maybe talking to a potential partner, working with somebody else, having somebody else bring the money to the deal? What has held you back from raising capital? Whether that's through private lending, or whether that's through RRSP funds or joint venturing, or however that might be. What are some of the things that have maybe held you back to this point from moving forward? So I want to see a few answers in the chat. So throw it in there, guys. Is there anything in particular? Because we're going to talk about 6 different ways, or 6 different very, very common fears that people have. But I definitely want to hear what you have to say first. So Rihanna, losing money and having family judge. Absolutely. That is a very common fear. In fact, that is the third one we're going to talk about tonight. Losing all our money or losing someone else's money is a very, very common fear. Rejection. So for me, it just says Facebook users, so I'm not sure who that is, but rejection, saying no, those are definitely fears. So that is the fourth one we're going to talk about today, is the fear of rejection, or the fear of hearing no. Those are legitimate fears that we can definitely have when it comes to real estate investment. Tell me some more, guys. Why someone will invest with an Oilers fan from Leaf Town? Yeah, why would they? Exactly. Why would somebody invest with me? Why would somebody give me their money? Absolutely another fear that a lot of people have. Anything else, guys? throw it in the chat, because this is what we're going to talk about today. And we are going to talk about real life practical. This isn't just fuzzy stuff. This is what can we do to get over these fears, because every single one of them can be conquered in one way or the other. And whether it's myself that has overcome those, or whether we have seen some of our Ignited members or some of our fearless members overcome some of these fears, we're going to share some of those stories today. I got at least one video to share with you as well that to me is very inspiring in a certain way, and it really proves a point about overcoming some of these fears too. Not having the funds to pull it off, absolutely, or the knowledge, maybe making a big mistake, maybe a fear of failure, or where am I going to get the money to do these sorts of things. So here's the top 6 that we're going to talk about tonight. Thank you for sharing that in the chat, guys. And as things come during our next 45 minutes or so, if something comes to mind, or you have a question, or you want to share maybe an experience you've had, or how you have overcome one of these, what helped you, then throw it in the chat and let everyone know what that might be. But here's the 6 that we're going to talk about today, okay? Number 1 is being afraid or having a fear of failure. Okay. So that was mentioned by somebody earlier, family finding out I failed, I did it. I'm afraid that I'm not going to do it right. Number 2, we're going to talk about is being afraid of buying the wrong property. So, I did it, but it wasn't the right one. The fear of losing all our money or someone else's money. We're going to talk about the fear of rejection or hearing no. We're going to talk about the fear of networking, getting to know other investors or building your team. And we're going to talk about maybe having no down payment money, no credit, not being able to qualify for a mortgage. And that touches with what Karina and others are saying as well. Interest rates, rising interest rates, rising costs, the money going sideways, losing all our money, all of these things. And as we go through it, you'll see that some of these fears all tie in with one another as well. So it's sometimes not just one thing, but it might be several things that hold us back, but they're all kind of tied in with one another. So let's start with our number 1 fear that we're going to talk about now, and that holds a lot of people back, and that is being afraid of failure. Being afraid of failure. So that was one of the first ones mentioned. How do we get over the fear of failure? Any ideas how we can get over that? I think it was Rihanna that said, my whole family's going to see losing money and having my family judge. We can be afraid that we don't want other people to see us fail in one way or another. And how do we get over that? Well, one of the things that we can do, guys, is first of all, realize that number 1, it's okay to fail. There's nothing wrong with that. Most successful business owners, for whatever business it is in, whatever industry it's in, whether it's real estate investment, whether it's something completely different, most successful people have failed at some point. In fact, what really breeds success a lot of times is failure. Making those mistakes and learning from them is what breeds success. That's what really creates the knowledge that is needed to be successful in any industry that you might be working in, no matter what it is. So number 1, knowing that it's okay to fail, understanding that, and that, whether our family judges us one way or another, whether our coworkers, whether our friends, whether, the people we hang out with, they might say, well, why are you doing this? Why are you getting into real estate investment? Interest rates are going up. Values are so high. Now's not the time. I mean, this is the types of things that general public that is not involved in real estate investment might be thinking, especially with the times that we're living in now. So one thing we need to do is, number 1, realize it's okay to make mistakes. Every single business owner out there does. And what's really important, though, is what you do after a failure. So let's say we get into real estate investment. We're all excited about it. We want to buy a property and we put in an offer and we fail. or we go and start talking to a realtor and the relationship doesn't go anywhere, we fail. Or maybe we bought a property and it's now not cash flowing, it's negative, we fail. What do we do after that failure? Do we learn from it? Do we see where we made the mistake? Do we change going forward? Maybe our strategy, maybe our market. It could be so many different variables involved, but do we learn from that failure? That's the key to all of this. And I'm going to share a little video with you guys, and I'm going to set the tone here with this video, because to me, it kind of just, I don't know, shows somebody that we all know, and somebody that created a moment in sports history that will be around forever and that is watched forever. And so this happened back, I don't know the exact year. I think it's 2013, 2014, something like that. And this was at the Masters and Tiger Woods was playing. Now, if you're a golf fan, I'm sure have seen this, and probably multiple times. And it's actually referred to as the shot. So 16th hole, going to win the Masters, or about to, actually did win the Masters, but 16th hole, there's 18 holes in golf, for those of you that don't know. It's right near the end. And you know what happened on the 16th tee box? Tiger shot one of the worst possible shots. It was like the time when you want to make a good shot with 3 holes left is now. And what does he do? He shanks it way to the left. It's not only not on the green, but it's way off the green and in a really tough spot. So let's watch this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about this and how this applies to us in real estate investment. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. Give me 1 second to do that. And here we go, guys. Watch this.
This is the ball of Tiger Woods. Lanny, what about this?
Vern, this is extremely difficult. This is one of the toughest pitches on the entire place here. He's got to put this well. You can see him looking up the slope. He's almost got to put it up to where you saw Trevor Immelman's ball come from to get it close.
Well, I am reminded of Davis Love here 4 or 5 years ago when he pitched in.
Yeah, he's a little bit further up, I think, than Davis was.
Yes, he is.
Got the same basic kind of shot. He's going to have to get it close. He's going to have to put it up into the slope, though, somewhat. And, of course, it's made a lot tougher by having that second cut right behind the ball. It almost forces him, I think, to put it back and have to hit a low shot. He cannot put it up in the air with the second cut that close behind the ball. You can see him putting it back in his stance right here and picking the club up like he's going to hit right down on it.
And he's picked out a landing spot that is a good 25 feet above the hole.
There's a good chance he doesn't get this inside the Marco's ball.
Well, here it comes. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. In your life, have you seen anything like that?
Okay, guys. So I think we get the point from that, don't we? What you just witnessed there was one of the best shots that in golf history. And so, you know, why are we watching a golf shot? What does this teach us? In order for that shot to have happened, what did Tiger need to do prior to that? He needed to fail. Okay, think about that. He needed to make one of the worst shots in golf, miss the green entirely in the moment that, you know, you're supposed to shine, in the moment you're supposed to conquer. In the moment you're supposed to win the Masters, and by the way, this was 2005, not 2013. I was way off on that. This was 2005. In that big moment, he failed. He didn't come through. But this goes to show the point that we're trying to make here is that in order for a big moment like this to actually occur, in order for this shot to actually be manufactured, in order to have this opportunity to make that shot, he had to fail first. Okay, do you get where I'm going with this? If you do, throw it in the chat. This is yes, Jules. It is crazy. It is one of the, I remember watching it live and seeing all of that happen, and it was just super, super awesome. But the lesson that we can apply as business owners, as real estate investors, is that before something amazing happens, we have to fail. It's going to happen. It's okay. And that's our first point tonight, guys, is that if something is holding you back because you're afraid to make a mistake, you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to maybe buy the wrong property, you're afraid to, make a wrong decision, to offer too much on a property, to not make your negotiations perfect, to do all of the things that we do in real estate investment, to maybe not analyze a property perfectly, all of those things. If that's what's holding us back, we can't let it hold us back anymore. We have to know it's okay. It's okay to move forward. It's okay to step out there, because that's really what will create what comes next. Okay. So that's point number one, our fear of failure that I wanted to share with you guys tonight. Yes, Jules, that's right. The win is bigger. If he had just shot a normal shot and put it on the green and then made a putt and got a birdie, great. That would have been a birdie. That would have been like any other shot maybe that day. It didn't create that situation. What created that situation was a failure, and then making a conscious choice and having the skill and ability and the coach with you to be able to make the next shot. And that's what this is all about, guys. So if you are sitting there and you're one of these people, one of us, just like me, just like any of us that is watching, and you have made a failure, your next step is to now make a win out of it. Okay. That's one of our main points for tonight. And it ties in with our next point that we're going to talk about, guys. And that is being or having the fear of buying the wrong property. That's something that, when I talk to a lot of real estate investors, especially when they're first getting started, well, that's one of the big fears that they have. What if I buy the wrong one? What if I buy one and, I'm negative cash flow? What if I buy one and it's in a market that goes down in value? What if I, what if I buy the wrong property? And this ties in with our previous one that we just talked about, being afraid of failure. But what can we do practically to get over the fear of buying the wrong property? Here's some tips of how we can do that. Number one, use the tools around you. Use the tools in your toolbox. If you don't have a toolbox, guys, go to investorlife.com. We have a toolbox. There are tools in there. There are property analyzer worksheets, for example. There are letters of intent, for example. There are many tools that you can add into your toolbox absolutely free. Okay, go to investorlife.com if you want that. But if we are using a property analyzer properly, we are following the instructions on how to use it. We are not fudging the numbers. We are doing the research necessary to find the real accurate numbers. Our chance of buying the wrong property is significantly less. If we are using an inspection company to check the property, for example, if we are getting opinions from some of our other investors here in Fearless, for our Ignited members, if you're scared of buying the wrong property, we talk about these things all the time, sharing it in our laser sessions and getting the eyes and opinions of other investors on it is super, super helpful when it comes to making sure that we are not buying the wrong property. Does it mean we can still make a mistake? Absolutely. But the chances of making a mistake, the chances of that mistake being a large one or losing lots of money is significantly lessened. If, number one, we're using the tools around us. Number two, we're getting opinions from other real estate investors. And number three, we're building a solid team around us that is there when we need help, when we need to ask questions, when we want other opinions. Okay. So that's how we get over the fear of buying the wrong property. So if you're sitting there and you're always wondering, should I be doing this? Should I? Those are the things you need to do. Number one, analyze it, get opinions from others, and build your team. Okay. What's another fear? The third one that we're going to talk about tonight, guys, is the fear of losing all of our money, or the fear of losing someone else's money. I don't know how many times I've heard it from real estate investors that they're okay, maybe moving forward and buying a property on their own. And if they lose money, they lose money. They're okay with that. But that's why I'm not going to bring in a partner. That's why I'm not going to joint venture with somebody. That's why I'm not going to raise capital from other investors, is because I don't want to lose their money. That's a very, very common fear. And so people might buy one property, might buy two, and then they stop there because they do not want to scale their business because they have this fear. So what helps us to get over those fears? The realization that not only are we not giving the opportunity, okay, we don't want to lose other people's money. We get that. But at the same time, we're losing the opportunity to make others money. Okay. So we got to flip that a little bit, and we have to look at the opportunities that we might have, the market research that we've done, the type of properties we might have already purchased that have been successful. Well, if we don't give that opportunity for others to invest with us, then we're not offering opportunity to other people. And isn't that really what we want to do? We want to provide a vehicle for other people to make money as well. That's why real estate investment is one of the best investments out there, because not only can we benefit, but others can as well if we're working together in business. So guys, we have to switch that way of thinking around, stop focusing on our fear, and look at potential opportunity. And what are we not offering others if we don't move forward with this? Okay. So that is one thing that we got to remember. Second thing, when it comes to, the fear of losing our money or losing somebody else's, is that time can heal a lot of mistakes. Remember, this is not a short-term get rich quick type thing with real estate investment. Yes, we can buy properties and we can renovate them and flip them and make some quick cash. Yes, sometimes a market goes up like crazy in a short period of time. Those things can happen. But for the most part, real estate investment is a slow way to build wealth. That's what it really is. And so if we own a piece of property and somebody pays down that mortgage, our tenants, and the property goes up in value and we're cash flowing the whole time, that's a slow way of building wealth, not only for us, but for others, providing that opportunity, that vehicle for other people as well. So remember that time can heal a lot of those mistakes. If we, for example, our second fear we talked about was our being afraid of buying the wrong property. If enough time goes by, that property, likely the mortgage will be paid down, the value will go up. Okay. So a lot of those mistakes can be erased by being able to last long enough in this business. Okay, so time is in our side. So we want to look long term in our planning. That's the point we want to think about here. Let's talk about another one, another fear. Our Ignited JV cash flow sheet just recently saved us from a deal that wasn't right for us. Awesome, Sarah. That is a very valuable tool that in a few minutes we can analyze a property and know whether it's good or not. It answers a large majority of those questions we might have. So for sure, that's really good. Okay, let's talk about the next fear, guys. This is number 4 on our list of 6 that we're going to talk about tonight. And that is the fear of rejection, the fear of hearing no. And this holds a lot of people back, because who of us likes to be rejected? Who of us likes to hear no? And those no's might be from potential partners. They might be from our realtor. They might be from our lawyer. They might be from our banker, our mortgage company. There's so many different ways that we can be discouraged. We can hear no's. We can be rejected in this business of real estate investment. And so what some do is they just don't move forward. Because if you don't move forward and put yourself in the position to hear a no, you're not going to hear a no. So instead of applying for that mortgage, for example, some real estate investors say, well, I'm not going to get approved, so I'm not even going to bother trying. Maybe they don't look at other avenues of getting it done. Maybe they don't look at being a little bit becoming a transaction engineer and figuring out an out of the way solution. And that's really what us as real estate investors do, is we figure out situations where we get through it maybe a different way than we originally planned. And that's who is usually successful in this business. So fear of rejection, fear of hearing no, just number one, know that every single real estate investor out there has been rejected at some point. Okay. Tiffany and I raised millions of dollars for real estate investment, but were we rejected? Absolutely. Many people that we talked to about investing with us chose not to. And that's okay. And it's okay that if you go out there and talk to somebody about investing with you, it's okay that they say no. They have the right to do that. And you have to be okay knowing that this is going to happen. It's just a part of the business. Not everybody's timing is right. Not everybody, has the right business relationship, maybe. Maybe somebody wants to invest, but they don't want to invest in that particular market or that type of property. There's so many different variables as to why somebody might say no, and that is okay. And I know that for some of you that have been listening to us for many years, have heard this analogy, but I'm going to share it again because it fits in quite well with what we're talking about here. And that is about Babe Ruth. Now, we all know who Babe Ruth is. He was, for many years, he was the number one hitter of home runs in baseball history. And even to this day, he's hit the third most home runs of any baseball player in history. Okay. So obviously he played, I think it was back in the 1920s, back in that time, somewhere around there. So it was a long time ago. And he's still holding that 100 years later. He's number 3 all time, 100 years later. So he was very, very successful at the game of baseball. We know his name nowadays, 100 years later, let's say, because he was very successful. But one of the other things is he struck out. He went up to the plate. He sat there waiting for the ball to come. And yes, he was one of the best at hitting a home run. But for 5 seasons that he played, he actually led the whole entire league in baseball for striking out. So think about that for a second. In order for him to get that win, in order for him to get those home runs, if he went up to the plate and thought, oh, I'm just going to strike out again. I'm just going to strike out again. Here comes another strikeout. If he dwelled on that every single time he went up to the plate, how many of those home runs would he have had? No, he was eager to get up there because he knew he could hit a home run. Now, he didn't all the time. And yes, he struck out more than any other baseball players in 5 different seasons of playing baseball. But that's what enabled him to move forward and get those home runs, was still moving through that fear of swinging the bat and being rejected, that fear of swinging the bat and hearing a no. It's the same thing. It's the same type of principle that applies. He still continued to go, and that's what got him the home runs. Okay, guys, so the fear of rejection, if that is something that is holding you back, number one, know it's okay. Know it's going to happen. It happens to everybody. And continue to move forward, even though you hear a no. It doesn't mean everyone out there is going to reject you. It doesn't mean every bank out there is going to reject you. It doesn't mean every realtor out there is going to reject you, or every negotiation for a property you're going to hear a no. It just means on that particular one. So move forward, continue in the business, think of Babe Ruth in the back of your mind and think, you know what? If he can do it, I can do it too. Okay. So that's number 4. We've talked about 4 fears so far, guys. Fear of networking is the 5th one that we're going to talk about now. Who here, throw it in the chat, who here loves networking? Who here loves going to, let's say, a real estate event or a business event of some sort and going up to strangers, people you don't know, introducing yourself, and talking about real estate investment, getting a conversation started? Who of you here are the extroverts, and who of you here are the introverts that maybe are not really that excited about starting conversations with other people? We hear this all the time, guys, that networking is so important in real estate investment. It's about who you know. It's about having those connections. That's where we find great properties. That's where we find great contacts in our business. That's how we build our team. But a lot of us have the fear of going out there and doing that. And that is, okay, so Nadine, you love meeting new people. That is awesome. And Karina, totally enjoy meeting people 100%. Jules, yes, I think you are an introvert. And that's kind of the way I am, to be honest with you, too. I am more of an introvert than an extrovert, believe it or not. And, but there's certain things that I've learned over the years that help me in this process. And so I'm going to share some of the tips that have helped me, guys, when it comes to, if I walk into a room of 500 real estate investors, what helps me to go in there with confidence? What helps me to go in there and start a conversation, or go up to somebody and start talking about real estate with them, or start a conversation maybe even not about real estate? What helps me to do that? I'm going to share with you some of the things that have helped me. Francis, you love networking. So it sounds like a lot of you here love networking, love meeting new people. And that is amazing. That's, between Tiffany and I, she is the one for sure that is far more willing to go out there and just start conversations with people. She's not shy, but I'm more on the introvert side of things, where I don't enjoy going out typically and starting conversations. But I've found that it's necessary to build your team. It's necessary to network with people. It's necessary to have a group of people that you have a connection with when it comes to real estate investment. So if you're too shy, or you feel you're too busy, or you have this fear of networking, I'm going to tell you a story about when we used to go to real estate events in person. When you have a break, and the purpose of that break, they call it a networking break in most cases, is to get up and meet new people, start conversations. Well, what I would do is, Tiffany would get up and start talking to the person right next to her, or meet somebody that she hasn't met before. I would get up and I would make a long walk to the bathroom, take my time, come out, take a long walk over to the coffee machine, pour myself a coffee, walk back to my chair. Then I'd pretend I'm looking around trying to find Tiff somewhere, and I'm busy, or I got something on my phone. For many years, I avoided starting conversations with people because I was too shy. I wasn't comfortable doing that. So what helped? Here's a couple things, practical things, guys, if you are shy, that can help you. Number 1, set a goal before you go to a networking event, whether that's real estate investment, business event of some sort, or whatever it might be. Number 1, set a goal. I'm going to meet one person tonight, or I'm going to meet 5 new people today. Okay. And try to stick to that goal. So that's number 1. That's one thing that helps. Number 2, have a planned conversation starter. What's your go-to line? It's almost like a pickup line. Okay. Instead of going to a bar and having a pickup line that you use, we need to go to a networking event and have a planned conversation starter. So I'm going to give you some examples. Let's say you're at an event, and by the way, we are going to be announcing an event here for our Fearless members, a live in-person event, the first ever. It's coming late September. The details are being arranged right now, and we're going to be announcing that very shortly, guys. So I'm excited for that. But let's say you're at this event, or you're at a different event, a real estate event, or whatever it might be. What can you plan as a conversation starter? Well, you can ask somebody, well, how long have you been a Fearless member? You can say, what brought you to the event? You can say, well, why did you choose real estate investment? What maybe held you back? What were some of your fears getting into this? Simple questions like that, guys. Okay, I just shared with you 4 different questions. Those 4 little questions can easily get a conversation started. And you know what the beauty of it is you don't have to do the talking. Okay, if you ask questions to other people, they are the ones that are answering the questions. They are the ones doing the talking. So that relieves a lot of the pressure if you're a shy person when it comes to holding a conversation, holding a business conversation, getting a conversation going, adding another contact to your portfolio of contacts. And this is important in this business, guys. So number 1, have a planned conversation starter. What's your go-to line? For me, it's always been, so how long have you been a member? Or how long have you been doing real estate? What market do you invest in? What type of properties do you buy? So I ask the questions, people answer them, and then inevitably they start to ask some questions back to me. And that's how a conversation gets going. So if you're shy, guys, plan a couple of questions that are your go-to, okay, that you're going to use. You can use in almost any circumstance. Have a couple in your pocket, and that makes it so much easier. Okay, guys, so we have talked about being afraid of failure, being afraid of buying the wrong property, losing all our money or someone else's, the fear of rejection or hearing no, and we've talked about the fear of networking. What's another fear that a lot of people have, and it's legitimate, absolutely, is maybe not having the money to do it, maybe not having the credit, maybe not being able to qualify for a mortgage. So that is something that holds a lot of people back. Now, you might say, well, that's not really a fear, but it is because, we might have a fear that I can't qualify for a mortgage, and that might be legitimate, or a fear that my credit isn't good enough, and that might be legitimate, or that I don't have the money to do it, and that might be legitimate. But that fear can be overcome by bringing another person into the equation. Okay, it's as simple as that. If our credit isn't good enough, well, maybe we partner with somebody that does have good credit. If we can't qualify for a mortgage, well, let's partner with somebody that can. If we don't have the down payment money, well, let's partner with somebody that does. Okay, so that's the whole point in all of this, is that if our fears of us not being good enough one way or the other, not being able to qualify, not being able to move forward is holding us back, maybe it's holding some of you back right now. Well, that's where we bring somebody else into the equation. That's where we build a team around us. And this ties in again with some of our other fears. That's where networking gets involved, meeting other investors, being involved here within our Fearless group. If you're an Ignited member, being involved, being at our laser sessions. This is what gets you involved with a group and gives you backing, gives you that support so that you can go forward regardless of your situation financially. Okay, so if that fear of money being an issue, qualifying being an issue, learn how to build a team, learn how to market yourself to other investors, learn how to network, learn how to do the research so that when somebody asks you a question, you have a legitimate answer for them. Learn how to work hard and be willing to learn all of these things. And if you are, that's exactly how you could describe Tiff and I back in 2004. We didn't have the down payment money to buy one property. We didn't have the credit. We couldn't qualify for all of our mortgages, but we brought in partners that did. We learned how to build a team. We learned how to network. We learned how to market ourselves to other investors. And we learned how to research the important things that people were going to ask us so that we sounded qualified, so that somebody could give us $50,000, $100,000, $500,000 to invest on their behalf because we sounded researched. We knew what we were talking about. We did the research. Okay, guys, so there's work involved in it. Absolutely. Nobody's saying you're just going to be served with a silver spoon. There's work involved in this business, but if you're willing to put that work forward, anything, absolutely anything is possible. And many of our Ignited members are absolute. So, guys, all of these things that we talked about tonight are topics that we talk about in our Ignited program. So if you are somebody that has just been sitting on the fence for a while, or somebody that needs that extra push to move forward, to get over these fears, somebody that could take advantage of our twice per week momentum calls that we have, our laser sessions where we're there to answer every single week any questions you have to do with real estate investment. We're there to help you analyze properties so you don't buy the wrong one. We're there to help you get over these fears, guys. That's what it's all about. So if you're wondering about that, guys, just simply go to investorlife.com/. Jules will share the link. I don't remember, Join Ignited or something like that. And you can get some information. Feel free to book a call. You book a call with me, and I will ask you a bunch of questions. And I will tell you whether you are ready to move forward, whether you have the ability to move forward and be a part of our program or not. Okay. So I know that a lot of you are thinking that I would love to do this, but I would love to do real estate investment, but, and something holds you back. If you're looking for help for that, that's what our program is for, guys. We want to move you forward and for you to be successful. There we go. Thank you, Jules, for sharing the link. Go there, guys. You can book a call, and I will sit down with you for 15, 20 minutes, and we'll have a discussion about where you're at. And there we go. You're either fit for it or you're not. And I'll tell you one way or the other. Okay, good. So that's our training tonight, guys. We wanted to talk about some of the fears that hold us as real estate investors back and give you practical ways to overcome those fears. So I hope that you maybe picked up one or two good points from tonight. Maybe we touched on some of the fears that have held you back. Maybe it's something else. Of course, this isn't the only 6 fears out there. There's lots of other ones as well, but these are the ones that we find to be the most common. And the beauty of all of this, guys, is that in 99.9% of the cases, there's a way to overcome these fears. There's a way to conquer them. So don't let something like that hold you back. Grab this opportunity that we have right now. Grab this opportunity and move forward with it, because there's a lot of opportunity right now in our Canadian market. Okay, so some good reminders tonight for some of you, some maybe some good points that you can take from this and apply. And feel free to reach out, guys. That's what we're here for. If you need help, that's what our program is designed towards. And stay tuned, guys, because within the next week or two, we are going to be announcing some firm dates and locations for an amazing Fearless real estate event coming up. So stay tuned for that. So that's it for tonight, guys. And for our Ignited members, we will see you over in Laser in about 10 minutes or so. And for the rest of you, thanks for joining us. And we will see you soon. See you next week for another Tactical Tuesday. Take care, guys.